If a teaching about provision removes wisdom, work, and responsibility, has it produced faith, or merely a spiritualized escape from reality? You must answer that question. Why? Because fear has been governing too many decisions, and passivity has been waiting to replace it. Fear says, strive harder, hurry, grasp, your future depends entirely upon you. Then, when striving exhausts you and still cannot guarantee tomorrow, passivity offers another road. It says, do nothing, repeat the right words, ignore the facts, call avoidance faith. Both voices want control. One makes money your master, the other makes money a miracle machine. Today, both deceptions are exposed. Money was never meant to name you, rank you, or rule you, nor was it meant to become an object you imagine you can control through a formula. It is a field of stewardship. In that field, faith stands upright, wisdom looks carefully, work puts its hand to the task, and generosity refuses to become a servant of fear. Covenant confidence does not deny scarcity. It denies scarcity the right to define your identity. It does not pretend words mechanically control outcomes. It teaches you to speak truth, so that your heart, choices, and conduct come under the government of faithfulness. Do you see it? You are not being called back into panic. You are being called forward into responsibility. Not anxious striving, not passive presumption. Trust with action, confidence with wisdom, prayer with planning, speech with integrity. We are going to move through this in order: identity, speech, prayer, planning, work, counsel, restraint, generosity, and the faithful handling of uncertainty. You will learn to face the facts without bowing to them, to act without worshiping your action, and to trust without abandoning your duty. Say this within yourself: I will neither panic nor hide. I will trust, think, work, give, and act faithfully. But before we construct that faithful response, we must expose the two counterfeits that have kept believers trapped. The first counterfeit is anxious striving. It tells you that your worth rises with your income and falls with every setback. It teaches you to measure safety by what you can see, count, store, or control. Under its command, work becomes overwork, prudence becomes hoarding, opportunity becomes pressure, another person's progress becomes an accusation against your life. You rush because fear says delay is disaster. You make impulsive decisions because fear demands relief now. You cannot rest without guilt because anxiety has appointed itself your employer. Even when you have enough for today, you live as though tomorrow is already coming to seize it. That is not diligence. It is bondage wearing work clothes. But the second counterfeit appears more spiritual. It is passive presumption. Presumption speaks confidently while neglecting responsibility. It uses declarations where learning is required, delay where planning is required, and excuses where correction is required. Bills remain unopened. Skills remain undeveloped. Difficult conversations remain postponed. Counsel is resisted because counsel might expose what must change. Then presumption says, I am waiting in faith. No, waiting is not faith when it is merely fear refusing to move. Speech is not authority when it is being used to hide from truth. You cannot abandon responsible action and call the abandonment trust. Do you see the contrast? Anxiety behaves as though everything depends upon you. Presumption behaves as though nothing requires you. Anxiety tries to seize the future through relentless effort. Presumption tries to command the future through a formula. Yet they are twins. Why? Because both are obsessed with control. One grips the wheel until its hands bleed. The other closes its eyes and claims the road must obey. Neither posture is trusting stewardship. One refuses dependence. The other refuses participation. Now examine yourself. Do not examine your neighbor. Which counterfeit appears most often in your habits? Do you overwork, compare, grasp, and fear rest? Or do you postpone, avoid, resist counsel, and speak boldly while leaving necessary work undone? Name it. What remains unnamed will continue to disguise itself. Say this: I reject anxious striving. I reject passive presumption. I will neither grasp nor hide. I will trust and I will participate. Once the counterfeits have been exposed, you must establish the identity from which faithful provision is approached. You cannot build faithful stewardship upon a frightened identity. If you believe every financial change is a verdict upon your worth, fear will command your labor, your spending, your giving, and your rest. That judgment must end. Covenant identity begins with belonging. You approach provision as one who is known, loved, accountable, and invited to participate, not as an orphan trying to purchase security through achievement. This confidence is not a promise of effortless wealth. It is a settled posture from which you can trust without becoming passive and act without becoming enslaved. Abundance does not make you spiritually superior. Difficulty does not make you abandoned. A rising account cannot crown you, and a falling account cannot erase your worth. Money may describe part of your present condition, but it does not possess the authority to define your person. Now we go deeper. You must move from frightened owner to entrusted steward. The frightened owner says, "Everything is mine to protect, and if I lose it, I lose myself." The steward says, "What has entered my care must be received gratefully, ordered wisely, developed diligently, shared responsibly, and handled accountably." Do you see the difference? Ownership clenches. Stewardship opens its eyes. Ownership asks, "How do I control everything?" Stewardship asks, "What is the faithful use of what is in my hands today?" This identity changes your work. You no longer labor to manufacture personal worth. You labor to serve, cultivate, build, solve, and contribute. Work becomes participation, not self-redemption. It changes your decisions. You can open the statement. You can count the cost. You can admit the mistake. You can ask the difficult question. Honest assessment is not unbelief. Facts are information. Fear is a ruler. Receive the information. Dismiss the ruler. And this identity changes uncertainty. Your confidence rests in God's character, while your plans remain humble. A faithful plan can be adjusted. A wise decision can receive correction. A secure person does not need to pretend perfect knowledge. Say this aloud. I belong to God. I am secure before the outcome. I am responsible, but I am not condemned. I am teachable, and I will face the truth. I will receive, order, develop, share, and answer faithfully for what enters my care. That is your foundation. Not financial pride, not financial shame, identity before outcome, responsibility without condemnation. With that identity established, we must now examine the instrument most often misused in teachings about provision. Your spoken words. Your words matter. They reveal what governs you. They direct your attention, strengthen your resolve, and prepare your conduct. A mouth surrendered to fear will continually rehearse defeat. A mouth aligned with truth can steady the heart for faithful action. But you must understand the boundary. Words are servants of truth. They are not levers of control. They do not mechanically force money, people, markets, or circumstances to obey personal desire. When speech is treated as a device that guarantees an outcome, confession has been reduced to superstition. What is superstition? It is the attempt to use a religious phrase while bypassing character, context, responsibility, and consequence. It wants the harvest without cultivation, the result without obedience, and the promise without accountability. Faithful speech does something different. Magical speech tries to control what is outside you. Faithful speech brings what is within you into agreement with truth. It confronts panic. It exposes deceit. It strengthens patience. It directs your feet toward the next responsible act. So speak boldly, but speak responsibly. Say, I will not surrender to panic. Then stop making panic-driven decisions. Say, I will walk in honesty. Then open what you have avoided and correct what you have concealed. Say, I will work faithfully. Then learn, apply, practice, and finish. Say, I will seek wisdom. Then become teachable enough to hear an answer you did not want. Say, I will practice restraint. Then refuse the impulse that would violate your priorities. Say, I will remain generous. Then give thoughtfully, without bargaining for a guaranteed return. Do you see it? True confession is not an escape hatch from responsibility. It is a doorway into responsibility. Never use a declaration to deny an obligation, disguise a mistake, or silence prudent concern. Never use confident language to shame someone who is enduring hardship. Financial difficulty is not proof of inferior worth, and honest concern is not automatically unbelief. From this moment, test every financial declaration with one question. What truthful and responsible action does this statement require of me now? If the words require no honesty, no courage, no wisdom, no patience, and no obedience, examine them again. Your speech must not merely sound powerful, it must prepare you to live faithfully. Say this: my words will serve truth, they will not hide fear or replace responsibility. I will speak with hope, and I will act with integrity. And if speech prepares the heart for action, then the first action must be prayer, the kind of prayer that tells the truth and yields control. Step 1. Pray with confidence and honesty. Bring the whole financial reality into prayer, not the polished version, not the exaggerated version, not the version hidden behind theatrical certainty. Bring the need, the fear, the obligation, the mistake, the hope, and the unanswered question. Begin with gratitude. Name what has already been placed within your care: the strength you possess, the help you have received, the skill you can develop, the resource that remains, the opportunity still open. Gratitude clears the fog that fear spreads across the mind. Then, name the need honestly. Do not inflate it to create drama, and do not minimize it to appear strong. Tell the truth. Confess where fear has ruled you. Confess where avoidance has delayed you. Ask for wisdom. Ask for courage. Ask for the humility to receive correction and the discipline to obey what becomes clear. Confidence in prayer is not dictating the method, timing, or source of an answer. You may ask boldly without pretending to control the road by which provision comes. Trust makes its request and releases its demand to manage every detail. Now, examine the desire beneath the request. Why do you want what you are asking for? Is it responsibility or status? Is it generosity or comparison? Is it genuine need or resentment toward another person's progress? Is it wise comfort or the appetite to appear successful? Prayer brings motives into the light. It does not merely ask, "What do I want?" It asks, "What is this desire doing within me?" After you have spoken, become still. What duty do you already know? What relationship requires honesty? What decision needs examination? What apology, application, conversation, cancellation, or act of work have you postponed? Then write. List your obligations, available resources, present pressures, and immediate next actions. Prayer and paper are not enemies. Spiritual attention must meet concrete reality. Do you see it? In prayer, fear loses its secrecy and responsibility receives direction. You are not using prayer to escape the facts. You are bringing the facts into the presence of trust. Say this: I will ask with confidence and listen with humility. I release the outcome, but I accept my responsibility. I am ready for guidance, correction, work, and patience. And what prayer uncovers must now be ordered, because confidence without a plan easily dissolves into delay. Step 2. Plan without worshiping the plan. What prayer has brought into the light must now be given order. Every known responsibility needs a place. Every priority needs a sequence. Every intention needs a next action. Begin with what is true. List the income presently available. List necessary expenses. List obligations already made. List what has been reserved, what can be shared, and what belongs merely to desire. Do not let vague pressure remain a cloud over your mind. Give it names. Give it categories. Give it order. Now distinguish between a need, a commitment, and an impulse. A need protects life and essential responsibility. A commitment carries the weight of your word. An impulse shouts because it wants immediate satisfaction. All three may feel urgent, but feeling is not the final judge. You must assign priority by truth, not by emotional volume. Do not try to construct an image of perfect control over the distant future. Set short, reviewable priorities. Decide what must be handled first, what can wait, what must be reduced, and what requires further counsel. Then, establish a time to review the plan again. Where possible, build margin. Why? Because life contains interruption. Margin creates room to recover, to learn, to respond, and to serve. But never turn margin into a badge of spiritual superiority. A reserve is a tool, not a throne. If you have little room today, begin with honesty and order rather than shame. Your plan is a servant of faithfulness. It is not a prophecy. New facts may appear. Responsibilities may change. Wise counsel may expose a better course. When that happens, revise the plan. Stubbornness is not conviction, and adjustment is not defeat. The steward remains firm in purpose and flexible in method. Now, choose one financial task you have neglected. Give it a date. Break it into a sequence. Define what completion will look like. Not, I will deal with it someday, but on this day, I will take this first action and I will finish this measurable part. Do you see the identity difference? The anxious person uses a plan to guarantee safety. The steward uses a plan to practice faithfulness. One demands control of tomorrow. The other brings order to today. Say this: my plan will serve truth. I will set priorities, act in order, and remain open to correction. I do not worship my plan. I use it faithfully. But a plan on paper is only potential. Provision also moves through trained capacity, useful service, and sustained work. Step 3. Work, learn, and become useful. Put your hands, attention, and ability behind your prayer and your plan. You have been entrusted with time, energy, relationships, opportunities, and the capacity to learn. These are not decorations. They are materials to be cultivated. Work is not punishment, and it is not proof that you deserve to exist. You do not labor to purchase your worth. You labor to serve, solve, build, repair, contribute, and develop what has entered your care. Sincere belief does not remove the need to learn. It does not exempt you from practice, improvement, application, negotiation, correction, or beginning again. Faith does not make skill unnecessary. It makes you courageous enough to become teachable. Picture a field placed before you. Confidence changes the posture with which you enter it, but the field still requires attention. There is a time to prepare, a time to plant, a time to protect, and a time to gather. Tools must be sharpened. Conditions must be observed. Labor must be sustained. You cannot bless neglected ground with words and call neglect a harvest strategy. Now examine your waiting. Is it patience or avoidance? Are you truly waiting for clarity, or are you hiding from rejection? Are you honoring timing or protecting yourself from discomfort? Are you seeking excellence or using perfection as permission never to begin? Genuine patience remains ready. Fearful delay remains hidden. But hear the other side. Diligence is not compulsion. Responsible labor includes limits. It protects health, relationships, rest, honesty, and moral boundaries. Overwork can become another attempt to control the future. You must not destroy the worker while claiming to honor the work. Faithful work knows when to press forward and when to stop. It gives full attention without surrendering identity. It pursues usefulness without making productivity a god. Identify one capacity you can strengthen. What must you study, practice, or improve? Then identify one useful service you can offer more faithfully. Who can be helped? What problem can be solved? What responsibility can be carried with greater skill? Take one step. Make the application. Begin the lesson. Repair the error. Complete the unfinished task. Say this: I will work diligently, honestly, and teachably. I will develop what has been entrusted to me. My productivity is not my identity, but my identity frees me to become useful. Yet diligence has blind spots. Therefore, the next movement must bring your decisions into the light of counsel and restraint. Step 4. Seek counsel and practice restraint. Do not make pressured decisions in isolation when wise perspective is available. Fear narrows the field of vision. Excitement magnifies reward and hides cost. Shame keeps questions locked behind closed doors. Urgency shouts, "Decide now, or lose everything." That is precisely when you must pause. Seeking counsel is not an admission of defeat. It is an act of strength. The secure person can invite examination because identity is not threatened by correction. The steward would rather endure a difficult question today than carry an avoidable burden tomorrow. But choose counsel carefully. Seek people of character and competence, people who respect responsibility, understand the kind of decision before you, and possess the courage to challenge your assumptions. Wise counsel does not flatter your certainty. It helps you see what emotion has concealed. Do not collect opinions until someone finally approves what you already intended to do. That is not counsel. It is permission shopping. If every warning is dismissed and every agreeable voice is crowned as wisdom, desire is still governing the process. Now join counsel to restraint. Restraint is not weakness. It is active authority over appetite, timing, comparison, and image. It is the power to say, not now. It is the courage to say, this does not fit my present responsibilities. It is the freedom to walk away from what promises status while creating disorder. Place a gatekeeper before every significant opportunity and desire. Let it ask, is this truthful? Is it affordable within present reality? Does it honor existing responsibilities? Can I proceed without violating settled peace? Does it align with the priorities already established? Let borrowing pass through that gate. Let purchases pass through it. Let new commitments and generous promises pass through it. The question is not whether one answer fits every person. The question is whether your decision can stand in the light of truth, responsibility, and wise examination. Choose one significant decision now. Pause it. Write your reasons for proceeding. Write the likely consequences. List the alternatives. Then seek counsel from someone qualified to question you before you act. Do you see it? Mature authority is not always demonstrated by movement. Sometimes it is demonstrated by listening, sometimes by waiting, sometimes by a clean and courageous no. Say this, I am teachable. I am not ruled by urgency, appetite, or appearance. I will pause, listen, examine, and choose responsibly. And when fear is quieted, plans are ordered, and appetite is restrained, generosity can become free rather than performative. Step 5. Give without bargaining. Make room for generosity, but never reduce giving to a spiritual investment scheme. A gift is not a lever placed against God, another person, or the future. You do not give in order to create a debt that heaven must repay according to your preferred schedule. That is bargaining, not generosity. Giving says, I release this in love and faithfulness. Bargaining says, I release this so that I may control what returns. One opens the hand, the other hides a contract inside the hand. Now, expose 3 distortions. First, giving for status. This gift wants to be seen, admired, and used as proof of spiritual importance. Second, giving from pressure. This gift is driven by fear, shame, manipulation, or the need to gain approval. Third, reckless giving. This gift ignores clear responsibilities, breaks existing commitments, and calls disorder sacrifice. Mature generosity is different. It is willing, thoughtful, and proportionate. It pays attention to genuine need without pretending present obligations do not exist. It does not require display. It does not promise what cannot responsibly be fulfilled. It gives with freedom, not compulsion. Why does generosity matter in a message about scarcity? Because generosity confronts the lie that possessions must become your master. What you possess is a tool to steward, not a throne before which you bow. You may hold resources carefully without holding them fearfully. And generosity is larger than money. You can give time, you can offer skill, you can open your home, you can encourage the discouraged. You can share access, attention, knowledge, or practical service. The question is not merely, how much did I transfer? The question is, how did love become useful through what was entrusted to me? Choose one responsible act of giving. Complete it without display, manipulation, or expectation of praise. Meet a real need. Offer a useful service. Encourage someone sincerely. Give what you can give faithfully, not what image or pressure demands. Do you see it? The value of generosity is not that it proves your spiritual rank or guarantees future wealth. Its value is found in love, freedom, and faithful participation. Say this, I will give without bargaining. Possessions will serve love. They will not govern me. I will be generous, thoughtful, and responsible. Yet, even faithful prayer, planning, work, counsel, restraint, and generosity do not eliminate uncertainty. Now, this framework must be tested under pressure. Now the test comes. What happens when you have prayed honestly, planned carefully, worked diligently, sought counsel, practiced restraint, and given responsibly, yet the outcome does not arrive as expected? A hidden assumption may rise within you. If I did everything correctly, the result must obey me. But that is the old formula wearing more respectable clothes. Stewardship governs your response. It does not govern every condition, every choice made by another person, every interruption, or every future outcome. Faithfulness gives direction to your conduct. It does not turn life into a machine. When delay comes, you may accuse yourself. When loss comes, you may blame others. When a decision fails, you may intensify the formula, conceal the facts, or abandon responsibility altogether. Refuse every one of those roads. Evaluation is not condemnation. You can admit that a decision was poor without declaring that your person is worthless. You can acknowledge what you failed to see without surrendering to shame. Correction says, learn and change. Condemnation says, hide and disappear. One restores responsibility, the other destroys it. When pressure arrives, follow this sequence. Tell the truth. Assess what has been damaged. Seek help before isolation deepens the problem. Protect essential responsibilities. Revise the plan. Make amends where your choices have harmed another person. Then take the next faithful action available to you. Not the perfect action. The next faithful action. Sometimes every available choice will carry difficulty. Courage may look like endurance. It may look like simplification, asking for help, releasing an image, accepting an imperfect solution, or rebuilding slowly. Faith is not absent because the road remains hard. Do you see it? Provision is not a public scoreboard displaying divine approval. Abundance does not prove superior faith. Hardship does not prove personal failure. Your financial condition must never become the final verdict on your value. Durable faith survives uncertainty because it is rooted in trust, not guaranteed control. It can be corrected without collapsing. It can wait without becoming passive. It can suffer disappointment without surrendering integrity. Say this: I refuse shame, and I refuse denial. I will tell the truth, receive correction, remain patient, and continue responsibly. An outcome may disappoint me, but it will not define me or release me from faithfulness. We have now tested each principle under pressure. It is time to gather them into one coherent rule of life, not a collection of disconnected techniques. Now gather the whole message into one rule of life. Identity before outcome, truthful speech before action, prayer before presumption, planning before drift, work before excuse, counsel before isolation, restraint before impulse, generosity without bargaining. These are not separate worlds, the spiritual on one side and the practical on the other. They are one faithful response. Prayer does not compete with planning. Trust does not compete with work. Confidence does not compete with counsel. Generosity does not compete with responsibility. Each practice strengthens the others when all are governed by truth. Here is the sequence you can use whenever financial pressure returns. Become still, tell the truth, pray honestly, examine your motives, gather the facts, seek wisdom, make a plan, act diligently, remain generous, then review the fruit and receive correction. Suppose an unexpected obligation appears. The old pattern panics or hides. The new pattern becomes still. It names the amount and the deadline. It refuses shame. It prays for wisdom without dictating an outcome. It examines available resources, asks for counsel, adjusts the plan, takes the necessary action, and remains open to help, work, negotiation, or simplification. The sequence does not guarantee an effortless ending. It replaces chaos with faithful next steps. When a decision stands before you, ask, is this truthful? Is it responsible? Does it serve or merely impress? Have I listened to wise counsel? What action does faithfulness require now? What must I release because I cannot control it? Those questions are gates. Do not rush past them. You are no longer a victim waiting for fear to announce your future. You are no longer a servant of appetite. You are no longer a spectator repeating formulas while responsibility remains untouched. You are a secure and accountable steward, able to pray, think, learn, work, listen, refuse, give, and adjust. Now take this framework into the next 7 days. Complete an honest financial inventory. Hold one conversation you have avoided. Make one necessary adjustment to your plan. Take one work-related action that strengthens usefulness. Refuse one impulse that violates your priorities. Perform one responsible act of generosity without display. Do not attempt to impress anyone with dramatic promises. Practice the pattern. 7 days of truthful action will reveal where fear, avoidance, or appetite still seeks command. Prepare now to say the framework aloud, not as a demand for a predetermined outcome, but as an identity commitment. I will become still. I will tell the truth. I will pray, examine, listen, plan, and act. I will remain restrained, generous, teachable, and faithful. I release what I cannot control, and I accept the responsibility placed within my hands. The framework has been understood. The closing movement now requires more than agreement. It requires a spoken decision, visible practice, and public commitment. Now the decision is yours. Ask yourself privately, where has fear ruled me? Where has spiritual language excused my delay? Where have I allowed money to measure my worth? What faithful action is already clear? Do not hurry past those questions. Let the truth answer. Now say this aloud. I will trust without denying reality. I will speak with confidence without trying to control the future. I will work diligently without worshiping my productivity. I will practice restraint without surrendering to fear. I will give generously without bargaining for a return. I am secure before the outcome. I am responsible for what is within my care. I will pray, plan, learn, listen, act, and remain teachable. What I cannot control, I release. What faithfulness requires, I will do. Now, name one concrete action you will complete within the next 24 hours. Write it down. Give it a time. Make it measurable. Perhaps it is opening what you avoided, making a call, correcting a plan, seeking counsel, completing an application, refusing an impulse, or meeting a responsibility. But name it. Faithfulness must leave the realm of intention and enter the world of action. Then continue the 7-day stewardship practice. Complete your inventory. Hold the honest conversation. Adjust the plan. Strengthen your usefulness. Practice restraint. Give responsibly. At the end of each day, review your progress honestly. Do not perform perfection. Receive correction and continue. If you are making this commitment right, I am a faithful, fearless steward. Let that public phrase mark a real decision, not a passing emotion. Share this message with someone who needs freedom from panic and passivity, and follow this channel for continued teaching that joins spiritual confidence with responsible action. You are not abandoned to scarcity. You are not excused into passivity. You are not defined by an account balance. You are called to trust without illusion, wisdom without fear, work without bondage, generosity without bargaining, and courage without control. Say it once more, and let it govern your next step. I am secure. I am responsible. I am teachable. I am generous. I am a faithful, fearless steward.